what you'll hear me try and do here is improvise in a classical setting. This is a Baroque aria, and of course what they did back in those days, which is not really done today, but back in those days singers would sing over the structure, which is often A, B or A, B, C, and then they would go back and improvise over the A and the B. And this is what I show here. This is the B. And you'll notice I take my liberty in embellishing the melody, which is also an aspect of improvisation. This is where the improvisation starts. This is the B section. Back to the A. Now I start to vary. I bring in the left hand and try to improvise a contrapunto, right and left hand. This is actually a thing which it's not easy to do, and I would probably, if someone were to just transcribe what I just did, they would probably find a lot of mistakes in this particular style. So of course, one of the questions is, is it enjoyable to hear someone like that improvise, or would you rather hear Bach's and Handel's and Tillemann's improvisations, which were written down and of course were incredibly perfect? So now we're on to a completely different kind of music. This is a modal-based music, which means that the guideline is that you stick to a certain mode. In Arabic they're called makam, and this is makam rast. This is a free improvisation which is called taksim, and taksims are improvisations that musicians play to set up a composition. There's no structure and there's no steady beat and no rhythm, so it's a completely free rhythmic improvisation. in Western music you'd have to go all the way back to medieval times to find modal music, and they probably, although we don't have knowledge of it, they probably improvised back then. So I'm going to demonstrate how you improvise in jazz styles. This is a standard called Body and Soul, and I'm just stating the theme here. And then I'll go into the actual solo over the AABA form. In my opinion, jazz styles are some of the hardest styles to improvise on because of their harmonic complexity. Whereas in modal music, you basically have the same scale and you don't have to think much beyond that. So you can kind of relax and focus on the creativity. But in a standard like this, which is very harmonically complex, which changes scale, sometimes within the bar, you have to think really quickly. In fact, you have to have the piece memorized completely, so that because your brain just cannot think fast enough. One of the disadvantages in improvising in this genre is that because the chords change so fast, there's a tendency to want to do cliches simply just because you cannot make up new stuff quick enough. So what I'm doing here is what we might call a free-form improvisation. There's no predetermined structure, and I don't really know what's going to happen until I actually start playing. I start with an idea and develop it, experiment with it, and then one thing takes over the other, and it's just you shut your brain off and you just let things flow from you. Because this music is such an unedited and raw kind of music, it's often very demanding for the listener to listen to. And so there isn't actually a large audience for this kind of music. But I find this kind of improvisation extremely not only important but also very interesting from the fact that it really exposes who you are as a musician, whereas other genres of music you can sort of hide behind the structure. Here you cannot hide, you're completely naked and you're completely exposed. It's almost a therapeutic kind of music because it completely unleashes what you have inside of you and how you're feeling in that particular moment. So it means that you cannot play, it's impossible to play the same improvisation twice. It's just impossible, because every day and every night you're different. You'll notice that I don't really have a sense of tonality. That's not really important in this kind of music. But sometimes, and you'll hear it here, develop very slowly, I do like to play with rhythm. And here I haven't really, of course this is not planned at all, this is completely a spur of the moment, but I go into a 5/8 kind of feel.